have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. I mean, she made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. Happy Liam Coen Day to all those who observe as the brand new head football coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars when it was introduced to the city of Jacksonville earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. I got a lot of thoughts about the press conference. We will let you hear some of the audio in case you did not hear it earlier. Liam Coen had a lot to say about how he got here, how excitement he is to be in this situation, about some of the talent on this team. He certainly talked about Trevor Lawrence, among many other things. I thought it was a pretty insightful press conference, to be honest. A couple of things are still a little hazy. The whole Trent Baalke thing, I think, is still somewhat unknown. I think we know what happened. I don't know if that was specifically said today. But I'll tell you this. I knew people that knew Liam Coen from his past. We're actually going to talk to one of those people later in the week. Maybe tomorrow, as a matter of fact. One of the former head coaches that he worked for in the college game. And every one of them told me he's going to win the press conference. And he did. I thought he was fantastic. Now, I don't know a head coach that doesn't win an introductory press conference. In the history of introductory press conferences, I believe that given head coach is undefeated. If you lose the introductory press conference, that is a monumental problem of epic proportions. So, they avoided that today down at the Miller Electric Center. Everybody's excited with good reason. Everybody's fired up with good reason. And now it's time to get to work. And what is the first step? What are the first steps of that? We're going to talk about that this evening here on Hacker After Dark. We will open up the phone lines as well at 641-1010. 641-1010, the Garber Auto Mall phone line. If you want to get involved in the program tonight, if you watch that press conference, if you listen to that press conference, if you have a thought about brand new Jaguar head coach Liam Coen, your thoughts are welcome here this evening on Hacker After Dark, and we'll start lining them up here in just a little bit. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. It is Monday night. That means a little Monday night coaching with Campo. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He joins us every week here on Hacker After Dark. We will talk all things Liam Coen. We'll also sprinkle in a little division, or I guess a little championship Sunday talk. Super Bowl 59 is set with Kansas City and Philadelphia. I got to tell you, I'm not there on this game. It doesn't do it for me. I got 13 days to build up for it to do it for me, and hopefully it does. The ultimate goal is to get there, right? The ultimate goal is to make it happen. Not overly excited about it yet, but we'll see. But we'll talk about all of that with Dave Campo. He comes up in about 30 minutes or so. Also, Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com, based up in Chicago. We'll talk a little Ben Johnson. We'll talk a little Liam Coen, a little NFL coaching carousel as well in the 9 o'clock hour. Again, phone lines open, 641-1010 Jacksonville, if you want to get in tonight to talk Liam Coen here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Some of the big takeaways that I had from the Liam Coen press conference earlier today. Number one, he is genuinely excited to be here. He is excited for this opportunity. You could tell. I mean, you could just tell. In watching that thing, you could tell almost how grateful he is for the opportunity. And that's good, right? I mean, think about this. When's the last time the Jaguars were in this position? First-time head coach, a young guy, an offensive mind. How about that? First time they've been in this position with an offensive-minded young head coach. Because Gus Bradley was a defensive-minded young head coach. But you go from Gus Bradley, then you go to Doug Marrone, then you go to Urban Meyer, then you go to Doug Peterson. Even before Gus Bradley, Mike Mularkey had been around the block, right? Jack Del Rio, defense. You probably legitimately have to go back to Tom Coughlin to find a young, exciting, offensive mind. I believe you have to go back probably to Coughlin, which is pretty wild to think about. But that's what the Jaguars have with Liam Coen. So the first thing I thought, very excited. Number two, they're going to address the offensive line. And what's really interesting about that is some of the contracts on that offensive line. From Walker Little, who just got his extension. Mitch Morse got a contract last year. Ezra Cleveland got a contract last year. Anton Harrison is still on his rookie deal. Liam Coen said basically the foundation of offense is the offensive line, protecting the quarterback. He also, I thought, made a really interesting comment about how the offensive line, when they break the huddle, that is the first thing the defense sees. Essentially saying we need the defense to notice them. We need the defense not necessarily to be intimidated, but to take notice of our offensive line. And I'm willing to bet a lot of defenses haven't taken a whole lot of notice of the Jaguar offensive line in recent years. So it is crystal clear to me that the offensive line is going to be a big topic here. Because keep in mind, what does Liam Coen do very well? They run the ball very well. And in running the ball very well, that opens up every other facet of your offense. So just hearing the introductory press conference today, and that's all I'm going on, just hearing that. When I do my first Monday mock draft next Monday, when we officially enter the month of February, I'll probably go offensive line at number 5, depending on obviously what they do in free agency in March, because that was a big takeaway for me today. The offensive line will be addressed, as I believe the defensive line will be. Coen said it's all about stopping the run and running the ball. That's how you win. He's right. And the Jaguars haven't done a very good job at either in the last few years. So I think the interior of the defensive line will also be addressed. As I told Rick, I thought it was pretty interesting that Christian Kirk was in attendance today. Not that he's not a team guy and not wanting to be there to support the franchise. I'm not saying that. But there is a lot of talk that Christian Kirk will be cut to save salary room. Post June 1st, I believe Kirk saves you $15 or $16 million if you cut him. Remember all the talk about Christian Kirk being traded at the trade deadline last year, and of course he got hurt right before the trade deadline against Green Bay. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if it means something, but I took notice that Christian Kirk was in attendance at the press conference today, as was Trevor Lawrence, Gabe Davis, Tank Bigsby. I believe Foye Oluokun was there as well. A lot of current Jaguars coming out to support their brand new head coach. You know, what I said last week still applies. The weekend did not change my mind. And today probably magnified it even more. It's hope, man. That's what you got right now. And if you didn't have hope going into this press conference, boy, I thought Liam Coen said all the right things. Looked the part. Commended the owner and the city and talked about Tony Baselli and Tony Khan and Mark Lamping and Ethan Waugh and obviously Shad. Talked about how happy they are to be here, he and his family. The opportunity this presents. Being able to coach guys like Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. He's right. This is a great opportunity. It's an opportunity that, quite frankly, was squandered by the previous administration. They did not live up to their end of the bargain. And I like Doug Peterson. But he didn't do a good enough job. Press Taylor, Ryan Nielsen, they did not do a good enough job. Trent Baalke absolutely did not do a good enough job. Heath Farwell did, and Heath Farwell, the special teams coordinator, was rewarded today with an extension, and he's going to be back in Jacksonville in 2025. And good, right on. He did a good job. He deserves to be back. Look, time will tell, man. Time will tell. Did you watch around the National Football League today? Aaron Glenn, introductory press conference in New York. Pete Carroll, introductory press conference in Las Vegas. Brian Schottenheimer, introductory press conference in Dallas. Liam Coen held court here in Jacksonville. Vrabel's already done it in Foxborough. Ben Johnson's already done it in Chicago. And you know what all of those press conferences have in common? Every single one of them. From the owner to the organization to the fan base. Every one of them believes they found the right guy. Believes this is the guy to get them out of the black hole, the abyss of the NFL. And as history shows us, most of these teams will not be right. A few may be, but most of them will not be right, and some of them are going to be back in the same position 2 or 3 years from now. Everybody is excited right now with these brand new head coaches, Jacksonville included with Liam Coen. But after the introductory press conference, after the honeymoon period, it's time to get to work. It's time to fix a team that has gone 5-18 in the last 23 games, which is completely and totally unacceptable. And based on what I heard today, I like the direction Liam Coen, I believe, is going to go in. We won't know wins and losses, obviously, for 7.5 months. But for these next 7.5 months, today magnified it. You know what you have the rest of the offseason now? You got it. You have hope that Liam Coen can turn this thing around in Jacksonville. Phone lines are yours, 641-1010. RJ, Peter, you'll be the first two up. If you want to get in, there is room for you. Your call's next. Your reaction to Liam Coen as the brand new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars on a Monday evening here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
When you're making plays on the field, doesn't matter. Are you going to go out there, take hits, deliver the ball, and win ball games for us?
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
The Florida Forum welcomes best-selling author and journalist Carl Hiaasen, February 12th. Funds raised go to a Kids Care Mobile ICU, a neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicle. Kids Care vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,200 infants and children a year to Wilson Children's Hospital. Get your tickets at thefloridaforum.com or call 202-2886. 202-2886.
Mike Dempsey here. All right, we're almost a month into the new year. How's that resolution to drop your first 20 to 25 pounds going? Didn't happen? Yeah, well, that's probably because you didn't call Awaken 180 weight loss. I did, and in just 4 weeks, I dropped 23 pounds and was at my goal. But here's the crazy part. It didn't stop there. It was so easy. I kept going. Did it another week. Next thing I know, I'm down 27 pounds. That's right, 27. You know what's wild? I can still see my abs again. Not ripped. I don't have a six-pack, but I didn't even think I had those anymore before Awaken 180. It's amazing when you see the results. Feel the results. You just want to keep pushing forward. That's what makes Awaken 180 so different. It's not some medication quick fix where the weight comes off and comes back. It's real results that you can see and feel. Fast results and lasting results. Results that make you want to keep going. To reach a goal you never thought possible. Want the same for you? Then do it. Call the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss, 844-346-1800, or visit awaken180weightloss.com today.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The NFL Alumni Charity Golf Tournament is February 21st at St. John's Golf and Country Club. To learn how you can play or volunteer, log on to NFLalumni.org.
The 5-Star Veterans Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveteranscenter.org.
Dreams Come True is a local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
There's a critical need for all blood types. Please consider donating at a local blood donation center.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010xl.com.
What's happening, folks? E.T. here, and get out of the house and crush those New Year's resolutions on the beautiful trails of Clay County. With perfect weather, now's the time to explore Jennings State Forest, Mike Rose Gold Head State Park, and Belmore State Forest. And after your hike, refuel at one of Clay's local favorites, like Dalton's Sports Grill or the Corner Pocket. Clay is my home, so I can promise you my people will take care of you. Trust me, just visit exploreclay.com and share those adventures at #ExploreClay.
New Orleans, a spectacle in the Superdome. 4 quarters in the French Quarter.
60 minutes of football.
60 minutes! Our best, here we go!
1010XL's coverage of football's favorite day
This is about us!
is viewed through Window World of Northeast Florida.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Chicken here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs. Did the kitchen towel take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards. Zero Res. Spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
The big game is almost here, and Sonny's Barbecue wants you to win a barbecue feast. Text Sonny's to the text line brought to you by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010 for your chance to win. 641-1010.
Make a resolution this new year to send all of your friends or family a Coen Flowers floral arrangement. RJ Saunders here with 1010XL, and okay, how about sending just one person you love a floral arrangement? Coen Flowers can handle it.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
That's the number one thing that we need to really get right. Like that is such an important position. When you go into a game plan, what we think about is how do we take care of and protect and make the game easier for the quarterback and the offensive line on the offensive side of the ball. On the flip side of it, defensively, how do we impact and affect the quarterback and the offensive line? That's really what we're trying to get accomplished. So the O-line hire, that process, that culture, all of what goes into that position, that's going to be one of the top hires that we make this year.
Liam Coen, the head coach. Let me echo something the mayor just told you. You're going to love this city.
There you go. That was Frank Frangie earlier today with Liam Coen here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. If you missed that interview, you can go check it out, 1010XL on demand on the MyBookie digital platform. Your thoughts on Liam Coen being the brand new head coach here in Jacksonville was introduced earlier today at the Miller Electric Center. Phone lines open, 641-1010 is the phone number, 641-1010. If you want to get involved, now is the time. Let's head out to the beaches to kick it off here on Hacker After Dark. Let's get RJ in here on 1010XL. RJ, what's going on?
Hey, Hack, it's a beautiful day in Duval.
It is. You like what you heard today, huh?
Yeah, I think I just kind of want to echo kind of what you said at the jump. My biggest takeaway was definitely the offensive line. It's funny, as I was watching the presser, he was obviously praising Trevor, and he even brought up BTJ, his relationship with Josh Allen. And he even said, hey, the defensive line, there's some studs on there, but we potentially maybe need to get them in better places and better schemes to make them more of an impact. But then when the offensive line came up, it was almost like he had a total change in his demeanor. Like, like the look in his eyes, it's like this thing needs a lot of work. So to me, like, my biggest takeaway is if I'm anyone on the offensive line, I'm clinching my you-know-what, because to me, no one's job is safe outside of maybe Harrison. So I kind of took that away as like they're going to potentially look to revamp that entire offensive line, whether it's through the draft or through free agency. So I'm right there with you. To me, the offensive line was my biggest takeaway. And I think the other thing too with this hire, and I'm sure you've talked about it as well, is it's almost kind of eerily similar to kind of where the Bucs were, 2 years ago when he took over play calling, and kind of where we're at now as a team, which probably made the job appealing to him, is just some of the similar contrasts and how he was able to clean that up and look where the Bucs are now. So to me, I'm optimistic, but I really think we have to address that offensive line, and that to me seems like his top priority. So
RJ, appreciate the phone call. No, I totally agree, because he talked about it over and over and over. Address the O-line, protect the quarterback. And again, I thought one of the most telling things he said in the press conference was just a little thing. You break the huddle. The first thing the defense sees is the offensive line. What do you want the defense to see? Not that they're going to be intimidated necessarily, but it'd be nice for them to take notice, right? We haven't had an offensive line. I'll tell you this. I bet you in 1999, when Tony Baselli and Leon Searcy and, Ben Coleman, Rich Tilsky, all the fellas broke the huddle then, I bet people took notice, right? I have no doubt that they took notice. So get back to that. Jaguars have not had a lot of dominant offensive linemen. Very, very few. It's been a long time. I think it will be addressed to the point where, again, I think if I start doing a mock draft, based on what I heard today, I almost have the Jaguars going to the line at number 5, not knowing, obviously, what's going to transpire in free agency and all that. But look, one of the things we didn't talk about last week is Trent Baalke was shown the door. Obviously, he believed he was going to be back in 2025. Shad Khan, I guess, believed he was going to be back in 2025 up until last Wednesday. So that's why you gave Walker Little that extension, right? Ezra Cleveland was given an extension last year. You bring in Mitch Morse on a 2-year deal. Anton Harrison still on his rookie contract. Probably the only one they can get out of is Brandon Sheriff without a big penalty. So a lot of those guys are signed. A lot of those guys are going to be here. The question is, how do you finagle it? How many starting spots are going to be up for grabs? That will be one of the most telling points of the offseason when it comes to that Jaguar O-line. 641-1010. Let's head to Bay Meadows on a Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. Let's get Peter. Peter, what's on your mind?
Hey, Hacker, how are you?
Good, buddy. How are you doing?
Doing great. Hey, Hope is springing in Jacksonville with a new coach. Liked what I heard. Liked talking about the lines of scrimmage a lot. One of the things you said was, what do they see when our offensive line comes out? And I think right now what they see is a nursing home of old men, and football is no place for old men. So I like what I heard on that front. Since we're doing first with a new, first-time head coach, why don't we have a little reunion tour? Let's bring home a new first-time offensive coordinator, bring back Mark Brunell. Then we get a little Ben Johnson magic to go with Liam Coen magic and revamp that offensive line. And if we're going to do first, let's make Tony Baselli the general manager, because he knows a little bit about linemen, and that would be a really interesting combination.
Peter, thank you for the phone call. Yeah, I didn't even mention that. So if you heard the press conference today, Baselli is going to have a spot somewhere in the Jaguar organization, more so than he does, right? Obviously more so than he does. Because Shad Khan basically said they're talking to the league about proper protocols. They're going to have a spot for him. It did not sound like it was a GM spot necessarily. Maybe it is the EVP, right? Who knows? But it certainly does appear that Baselli will be involved in it somehow. And I think Liam Coen kind of let the cat out of the bag when he talked about the interview process and how it went, particularly after Balky was shown the door. He mentioned Shad. He mentioned Tony Khan. He mentioned Ethan Waugh. He mentioned Mark Lamping. And he mentioned Tony Baselli. And I heard Baselli this morning on the drill with Dan and Jeff, and he basically alluded to the fact that, yeah, he did have a role in the interviews. And it was interesting hearing Tony talk about the process from that standpoint. You've been on the other side of it as a player in negotiations, but seeing this side of it was kind of eye-opening. So, yeah, I do believe Baselli's going to have a spot. As far as the coaching staff, there's a lot of rumors out there about offensive coordinator. The Chip Kelly thing, to me, is not going to happen. And the reason the Chip Kelly thing is not going to happen, I mean, think about it. Liam Cohen's going to call plays. He announced today he's going to be the play caller. If you're Chip Kelly, why on earth would you come here? When you can go to Houston or you can go to Tampa Bay with two defensive-minded head coaches and be the primary play caller. So as cool as the name value would be, and as cool, I guess, as it is the Jaguars are associated in the Chip Kelly sweepstakes, for the life of me, that doesn't make any sense for his career for Chip Kelly to come to Jacksonville and not call plays as opposed to going to Houston or going to Tampa Bay where he would be the play caller. As we mentioned, Heath Farwell is back in the fold. Special teams coordinator is back in Jacksonville. That's, I guess, the first hire that Liam Coen has made. They're starting to interview defensive coordinators. They talked to a assistant from Minnesota, which was interesting today, a former LSU D coordinator as well. Jones, I believe, from Minnesota, was an assistant to Brian Flores for the last year. So things are starting to move, right? The staff has got to come together. I mean, do you realize the Senior Bowl is this week? The Senior Bowl is this week. They did weigh-ins in Mobile this week. We're a month away, basically, a little over a month away from the Combine. And I believe we are 88 days from the NFL draft. Does that sound right? I believe 88 days away from the NFL draft. This thing's going to go quick. And as of right now, all the Jaguars have is a head coach and a special teams coordinator. You've got to get a staff in here. You've got to examine the roster. Free agency is in 6 weeks. Things are going to be happening very, very quickly down at the Miller Electric Center. Let's talk more about Liam Coen. Let's talk about the process that was with a guy that knows all about the process, a former head coach in the National Football League, my buddy Dave Campo. It's always Monday Night Coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark as the former head coach joins us every week. Not only will we talk Liam Coen, that'll be the primary focus, but we got to get into Championship Sunday, right? Philadelphia destroys Washington. Kansas City, I mean, what do you say? Love them, hate them. At this point, you got to respect them. My gracious, what a job. 5th Super Bowl in 6 years. You feel for Buffalo. Buffalo is Karl Malone and John Stockton, right? Buffalo is Charles Barkley. Buffalo is Patrick Ewing in the Jordan era. Mahomes is Jordan. Other guys are great. But when it comes down to it, they can't beat Jordan. Malone and Stockton couldn't beat Jordan. Ewing couldn't beat Jordan. Oh, but Hacker, he made the finals in 94. Jordan wasn't there. Jordan was playing baseball. That's who Patrick Mahomes is, man. He's the Michael Jordan of the era. You can't beat him. Cannot beat him. Josh Allen had a great year. Josh Allen's had a great career. What is he now, 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Wild. And it will be Philadelphia and Kansas City in Super Bowl 59. We'll also take a very, very early look at that with Dave Campo. The head coach joins me next. It is a Monday night in Jacksonville, Florida. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark rolls on till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Big moment. Play-by-play is full of plot twists.
Did that just happen?
And high-octane drama.
And this game is tied.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Matt McDonald, founder and executive director of Next 18. Thanks to the Players Championship, we're using golf to support mental wellness for veterans and first responders. It's 43 days until the Players.
Mia here. You want to know what I'm so over? Resolutions. You want to know what I am into? The revolution hitting the road in a new Toyota from Arlington Toyota. So what do you say? Join the Arlington Toyota revolution and save big with financing as low as 0% on select new models. Or get up to $8,500 off select new Toyotas. Plus, every new purchase from Arlington comes with their lifetime warranty and 60-day exchange. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or at arlingtontoyota.com.
If fishing is in your DNA, hop in the boat with Captain Kevin. It's the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
New year, new beginnings, and a new roof. Start 2025 with peace of mind and take advantage of Universal Roof and Contracting's limited time offer. 15% off all roof repairs and replacements. From leaks to full replacements, call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection today. This special New Year deal ends January 31st. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home and building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix does. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, superiorfenceandrail.com.
Bull riding, the
perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a sound bar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound and Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. We have a Super Bowl matchup all set. Philadelphia and Kansas City in 13 days in Super Bowl 59. We will certainly spend some time on that, but certainly the big story here locally, Liam Coen, the brand new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was introduced at a press conference earlier today. And let's talk about the brand new man in charge of rebuilding this Jaguar football team. Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He's our head coach here on Hacker After Dark, and he's with us every week here on 1010XL. Coach, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. This was a good weekend. You know, we got some things done with the Jaguars, and it was four heavyweights going after each other. So that was good. I enjoyed the weekend football-wise, and I'm excited about what's going on with the Jags.
And let's dive into all of it, Coach. All right, we'll get to the games in a moment, because I certainly want to get your thoughts on both Philadelphia and Kansas City. But obviously, let's not bury the lead. Liam Coen, the brand new coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. First and foremost, the absolute craziness of the process. You have been around the game for decades in the National Football League as a head coach, as a coordinator, as a position coach. What do you make of that 48-hour period last week between Wednesday and Friday when so much craziness reportedly happened?
Well, it was interesting. Let me put it that way. I think that one of the things that Shad Khan had to come to the realization of, apparently, was that Trent Baalke, his reputation or whatever, really hurt them. They had, it looked like, zeroed in to the two young coordinators in Ben Johnson and Liam Coen, and both of them turned them down for one reason or another. And I think that the realization kicked in. Khan got rid of Trent Baalke and went back after Liam, and obviously it worked. So it was a fast and furious, one of those things that happens in the NFL, because you got to strike when it's hot, and that's what happened.
You know, have you ever heard of a situation like that where a coach says thanks but no thanks, and literally 4 hours later a general manager is fired just so they can circle back around and talk to that coach again? I mean, that's wild, right, Coach?
No question. I've never seen it before. And obviously, nothing surprises me in the National Football League, because anything can happen day to day there. But in all honesty, I think, that's something that has been festering over there with the combination of Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke. And, Shad kind of put his foot in the ground, that nothing was going to happen with the GM. But I think the realization set in, as I said earlier, and I think that, at that point, he felt that there were some good vibes between him and Coen to begin with, and he just felt that that was the right decision to make, and he made it.
Dave Campo with us here on Hacker After Dark. All right, who knows what to believe and what not to believe, but I think it's pretty clear at this point. Tampa Bay made Coen an offer to make him the highest-paid offensive coordinator in the league. Coen appears to have accepted that, but the contingency of that offer was that he could not take a second interview in Jacksonville. And I believe people aren't focusing enough on that. Is that in good taste by the Buccaneers to do that?
Well, first of all, everybody over there is somewhat burned up, especially the fans. And, obviously the Tampa Bay thought they had it wrapped up. But they did what happened to themselves because, first of all, you can't keep a guy from going from one position to a higher position, from coordinator to head coach is an example. And when you put something in there like that in the contract, that's not in good faith, in my opinion, because I think that's something that it should not be in there, especially when a contract itself doesn't keep you from making that move. So to me, I was a little bit concerned, a little bit of a red flag when I saw what happened. But then after thinking about it, they did it to themselves, and I think it'll be short-lived over there. They're going to move on, and I think the thing that hurt them the most is that Todd Bowles is going to have to look for a fourth coordinator in 4 years. So, there's consternation, but I don't think it was as big a red flag as I originally thought, and I don't think it's as big a red flag as everybody over there is making it.
I want to talk about Liam Coen, the coach, and how you believe he will do here in a moment, but obviously with your experience around the league, I'm curious, the Rooney Rule. Boy, we've seen teams kind of finagle that this offseason, right? I mean, the New England Patriots fired Gerard Mayo. They bring in Byron Leftwich and Pap Hamilton for interviews, only to hire Mike Vrabel a week later. Chicago brings in Eddie George, former Titan running back, who was the head coach of Tennessee State, only to hire Ben Johnson 18 hours later. And the Jaguars are interviewing Patrick Graham the day that they ultimately offer Liam Coen the job. Does the NFL need to think about the Rooney Rule a little bit, because it's not being made in a very good light right now?
Well, first of all, let me say this. There was a long time there where there were no African Americans as head coaches. And I think that the Rooney Rule was right at that point because, a lot of these owners that are billionaires don't necessarily hang around with a lot of African Americans that are still working up the ladder. And the good thing about it is that the more you get people in front of the people that are making decisions, the better chance you have in the future of that person getting a job. So to me, the Rooney Rule is still a valuable tool because there are some guys that will get opportunities based on the fact that they get themselves in front of people that are decision makers. And, I think eventually some of those guys will pay dividends from that. Now, does it always work? Absolutely not. I think that, the two you mentioned is unfortunate that that's the way it operates. But at the same time, I still look at the Rooney Rule as being something that is positive for trying to equalize what's going on in the National Football League.
The head coach, Dave Campo, here with us on Hacker After Dark. All right, let's dive into Liam Coen. All the reports are he turns the Jaguars down. They fire Trent Baalke, circle back around, up the ante on the contract offer, and he has a change of heart. Take us into the mind of a head coach. Obviously, you haven't, I'm sure, talked to Liam Coen, but you're the only NFL head coach that I'm going to talk to today, so you got a much better perspective on this than probably anybody listening right now. When Coen says no and the Jaguars call him back after they fire Baalke, obviously that tells Coen they want him. Why do you think Coen had the change of heart?
Well, first of all, I think there had to be some good vibes from the interview from the very beginning. And that's what I've heard, through the grapevine or whatever. I think, like I said, they zeroed into Ben Johnson and Liam Coen from the very beginning. And that, to me, shows a great deal of interest. Now, again, when he made the decision to come over here, I don't believe he actually felt he had the job until he got face-to-face. And going face-to-face off of a Zoom call is important. I think he just felt at that point that, number one, there are only 32 of those guys in the National Football League that have an opportunity to be a head coach. And plus the fact that, that's a dream situation for all coaches, if they have any salt to them, is to be in a position where there are very, very few other people are in. So I think that entered in. And the reason he didn't tell Tampa Bay that he was going over there and kind of went dark was because he was concerned that he might not get the job. And I think, he made the right decision there, because they could have pulled it over there in Jacksonville if they knew he was going over there. So to me, he made a decision based on the fact that I think he liked what he saw from the organization. And listen, $13 million, if that's what he's getting, can convince anybody, because that's life-changing for a football coach. $13 million a year for 5 years, that is life-changing, and I think that's a part of it as well.
That's a pretty good chunk of change, no question about it. All right, 1 year as a play caller in Tampa Bay. He was also a coordinator in L.A. in 2022, but obviously Sean McVay was the play caller there. So only 1 year. Now, in that 1 year, he did wonders with the Buccaneers, and he certainly did wonders for Baker Mayfield. But how concerned are you, Coach, that they're giving the keys to the franchise basically to a guy that's only called plays for 1 year in the NFL?
Well, obviously that's a little bit of a concern, because, he did get let go from one of the coordinator jobs in the league with L.A. and went back to Kentucky. So there is a little bit of concern with that. But I think he's shown from his stops that, and let me go back, he didn't call the plays in L.A. with McVay. But I think the things that makes him stand out a little bit, and his reason for optimism, is that he was under McVay for assistant quarterback coach, assistant receiver coach, and in a coordinator position where he had to develop game plans with Sean McVay. And if you look around the league, his tree is pretty effective. You talk about LaFleur and O'Connell, and I can name about 5 of them. Raheem Morris, whoever has worked on it under McVay has been pretty successful. So I think he's proven in the 1 year in Tampa Bay that he can be a quarterback coach that can get a guy changed with his scheme, because obviously he was a big factor in how Mayfield played this year. And I think that's the positive to it. But I don't think any young new head coach that you bring in, if you don't have the surrounding cast, there's reason that things don't go well. So the optimism is there, but time will tell. If I think one of the key things is going to be who they bring in as GM, and that they're on the same page with Coen, and that they draft well and free agent acquisition well.
Couple more for the head coach, Dave Campo. You mentioned the general manager position. By all indications, Liam Coen is certainly going to have a big voice in who the GM is. The only other situation that I've heard this weekend comparable to a first-time head coach getting to basically choose his GM was Kyle Shanahan out in San Francisco. Your thoughts on that aspect of Liam Coen here in Jacksonville?
Well, I think it's still going to be a collaborative situation with Shad and whoever else they're listening to over there. So I don't think it's a case of Liam just coming in and saying, look, I want this guy. There's going to be a vetting of those guys, but the thing that excites me is the vetting is going on while he's there. And so his input is going to be part of that whole thing. And you know my feeling, I've said it before on the shows, that I believe that one of the key factors in a head coach's ability to be successful is that he and the GM are on the same page. And I believe Liam's going to have a much, much bigger say because of the situation and who he hires on his staff. And I think those two things are extremely important. In fact, the staff might be more important than anything else, especially in the NFL. You can't just automatically get a guy because of contracts. What he knows is going to be a big factor on who he knows and who he brings with him. And the GM and he are most likely going to be on the same page.
Absolutely crazy times here in Jacksonville, but Liam Coen signed, sealed, and delivered as the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Final moments with Dave Campo. Coach, the championship Sunday, in your decades in the league, I'm just going to ask you a flat-out, short, to-the-point question. How does Kansas City continue to do this? This is now 5 Super Bowls in 6 years.
Yeah, and I think it's 7 conference championships, which it just proves that the organization is very functional and that the chain of command is all together. And, they've made good choices on who they bring in. We wouldn't have given who's our right tackle? Their right tackle was with us.
Oh, Jawan Taylor, yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't have paid him that money, but did it pay off? Absolutely. And I think that, those kind of decisions are a combination of a lot of people involved. Andy Reid, I'll tell you, I honestly believe he is by far the most innovative and most the smartest play caller in NFL history. The guy just has a way of making calls when they count. And then, of course, they got a guy in Mahomes that elevates everybody with his ability to make plays and win when he has to. So, to me, it's an organizational strength, and they've been able to, put pieces together. They bring in a Worthy, and all of a sudden Worthy is a key factor because of his speed and ability to put his hands on the ball, make things happen. Even though they lost guys, they bring guys in that elevate the rest of the football team, and don't not give enough love to Spagnuolo, because I think he's done a great job in putting that defense together. And when they get key guys like Humphreys and Jones and guys that are playmakers on a unit, that combination of defense and offense is what wins the game for them. They know how to finish.
Kansas City, the champions of the AFC, they will play Philadelphia, the champions of the NFC. Look, Coach, obviously either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen's going to win the MVP. But I got to tell you, man, Saquon Barkley, holy moly, what an addition he was for Philadelphia. They absolutely destroy Washington yesterday.
I think he was the key. You know how I feel about running the football. And that guy is a home run hitter. He's one of those guys, they're nowhere near the same in how they do things. But when you compare him to Barry Sanders and he are alike. They can go 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 4 yards, minus 2 yards, 55. That's the kind of player he is. He is explosive. He gets into the secondary. It's all over. He's got great burst. And, they just remind you of each other about the way they operate. He's a guy that is a difference maker. And with the way their scheme is, they're a run-first offense. You can put that in the bank. And I think, their Hurts is a perfect guy to run it because they can run the RPO game and he can run the football himself, which I think is a key in the NFL right now. They just have a pretty good unit together, and they have the best defense in the NFL. So that combination bodes well, and I think it's going to be a heck of a football game, very similar to the one we just watched with Buffalo and Kansas City.
Coach, final question. We'll obviously do an X's and O's, more kind of a breakdown of the game next week. We got a 13-day waiting period here. But an early prediction from you, 13 days out. Who do you like, Kansas City or Philadelphia, off the top of your head?
Well, I think it's going to be a great ball game, and I'm a firm believer that a champion is a champion until they're not. So I'm going with Kansas City. And, that's just because they have the blueprint. You know exactly what to expect from them, but in reality, you don't know what to expect from them. And I think that gives the edge you don't bet against Mahomes, in my opinion.
Next week, we'll obviously break down the game. Hopefully by next week, we'll start filling in pieces for the Jaguar coaching staff under brand new head coach Liam Coen as well. Our head coach here on Hacker After Dark is my friend Dave Campo. Coach, thank you for the time. Always appreciate you, brother. We'll talk again next Monday.
You got it, Hack. I always appreciate being on with you, and have a good week. And let's get some guys in here that can help this football team.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz.
1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mike Dempsey here. All right, we're almost a month into the new year. How's that resolution to drop your first 20 to 25 pounds going? Didn't happen? Yeah, well, that's probably because you didn't call Awaken 180 weight loss. I did, and in just 4 weeks, I dropped 23 pounds and was at my goal. But here's the crazy part. It didn't stop there. It was so easy. I kept going. Did it another week. Next thing I know, I'm down 27 pounds. That's right, 27. You know what's wild? I can still see my abs again. Not ripped. I don't have a six-pack, but I didn't even think I had those anymore before Awaken 180. It's amazing when you see the results. Feel the results. You just want to keep pushing forward. That's what makes Awaken 180 so different. It's not some medication quick fix where the weight comes off and comes back. It's real results that you can see and feel. Fast results and lasting results. Results that make you want to keep going. To reach a goal you never thought possible. Want the same for you? Then do it. Call the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss, 844-346-1800, or visit awaken180weightloss.com today.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. Every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Pizza to Tea here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards.
It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard. They're getting MVPs, most valuable pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard and St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer.
Yo, E.T. here, and beat the winter blues with fun activities in Clay County. Some of my personal favorites are a hands-on aquaponics class at Reparation Earth, or diving into the action at Nakima Anime Bar, where you can join weekly gaming and cosplay tournaments. Clay County always has something going on. Plan your next date at exploreclay.com and share the fun at #ExploreClay.
The Electric Light Orchestra Experience featuring Evil Woman, the American ELO. A concert celebration featuring the music of Electric Light Orchestra. It's February 5th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com, one of their main NFL and NBA writers. We'll talk Ben Johnson in Chicago. Josh is actually based in the Windy City in Chicago. So we'll talk about Ben Johnson up there. We'll certainly spend some time on Liam Coen and the coaching carousel. All but one team is full, right? The New Orleans Saints, and goodness knows what they're doing. The Saints' problem is they're like $1 billion over the cap. So no one really wants that job. Joe Brady has taken his name out of the running. I believe I saw that Kellen Moore is in play there, but of course he's going to be in the Super Bowl as the Eagles offensive coordinator. So who knows when New Orleans will fill that job. But you look at the other six, and this is what I talked about earlier. Obviously in New England, Mike Vrabel and the Patriot fan base, they're on cloud nine, right? Chicago's ecstatic with Ben Johnson. I would think Las Vegas has got to be happy with Pete Carroll. The New York Jets fan base loves themselves some Aaron Glenn. We really like Liam Coen, at least most of us. And Dallas, Brian Schottenheimer, that might be the one exception, but 5 of the 6 anyway, unbelievably happy right now. Honeymoon period. Now, ultimately, a lot of those honeymoon periods will crash and burn come September and October when losses start accumulating. But for the here and now, a lot of these fan bases are very, very excited, and I don't blame them. A lot of good hires, it appears, on the surface during this NFL coaching carousel period. Championship Sunday, yesterday in the National Football League. First and foremost, Denmark, is there an argument to make, and they'll have to do it more than 1 year. We only have a 1-year sample size. So I don't know how you can judge it yet, but I think there's at least a conversation piece to argue that Saquon Barkley, has he been the most, what's the word I want to use, as far as free agent acquisitions go?
Biggest one ever, yes.
The best, the biggest one ever? I mean, I know that's kind of hyperbole, but
it's certainly up there. I mean, most impactful.
I mean, people were talking about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and yes, the MVP vote is over, and one of them will get the MVP because they're quarterbacks and they were both great. Man, I got to tell you, what Saquon Barkley's done this year, I'm not sure if he shouldn't get some consideration for the MVP.
No, he definitely should, but it's going to go to the quarterbacks because it's quarterback-driven league, and that's the only thing we ever talk about. But, yeah, I mean, it just kind of shows you, like, had he stayed with the Giants, I was thinking about this earlier, had he stayed with the Giants, we would consider him a really good running back, but we would not consider him all-time talent. And then when you put him around one of the best teams, a decent coordinator, one of the best offensive lines, and then you see what he can do, it's like, this is like all-time stuff. Like, we haven't seen something like this since Adrian Peterson.
Well, what compounds it was the Hard Knocks, right? The Giants Hard Knocks, the off-season version, this was all documented. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll were having their interviews, and who do we want to, not re-sign? Can we risk losing this guy? And they videotaped, obviously knowingly, Shane knew it was being videotaped, but the phone conversation that he had with Saquon Barkley about, we're going to let you test the market. We'd like for you to come back here and at least give us a chance to match. The Giants chose not to match. I mean, the Giants ownership's on camera saying, I would have trouble sleeping at night if Saquon goes to Philadelphia and he becomes a 2,000-yard rusher and is the main reason, or certainly one of the main reasons, why the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl. Wild. And you look at the running back, right? There was a thought for a couple of years that you can just get any running back, draft any mid-round running back. I don't know if that thought exists anymore. You look at the old guys, the old free agents, from Joe Mixon in Houston to Derrick Henry in Baltimore to certainly Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia. Man, the value that those guys had for their new teams this year, there aren't words to describe the value. Philadelphia wins quickly to Washington. It got away from them. They are not 32 points worse than Philadelphia. They beat Philadelphia on December, 22nd, right? It got away from them late in the fourth quarter yesterday. Just too many turnovers, man. I don't think it was even nerves. It was just the ball kept getting punched out. Philly made plays. Austin Eckler, he's a veteran. You got to protect the ball. Kickoff return, another fumble. Brown, the wide receiver, across the middle, another fumble. You can't lose 3 fumbles on the road in the NFC Championship game and expect to win. That doesn't work. Jaden Daniels with visible frustration afterwards. Boy, he's going to be good, man. He's going to be really, really good. This is probably just the beginning for Washington. But give Philadelphia credit. They're kind of a boring team. I'm not a big fan of Philadelphia. But they have turned into being obviously the best team in the NFC. They are back in the Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni, what is this, his second Super Bowl in 4 years? 5 years? 4 years. Crazy, the success he's had. And keep in mind, he was on the legit hot seat coming into the year. That's how tough the crowd is in Philadelphia. Make no mistake about it, Sirianni was coaching for his job this past year. He obviously did that with flying colors. Philadelphia will get Kansas City. We'll get to the Chiefs in a moment. First to Buffalo. I mentioned this earlier. At this point, they are Karl Malone and John Stockton, right? They're Patrick Ewing. They're Charles Barkley. They are phenomenal. The Buffalo Bills are phenomenal. Hall of Fame players that I mentioned in the NBA, well, Buffalo could be in the Hall of Fame of very, very, very good NFL teams, and they have been for the last 5 or so years. They just simply can't beat Patrick Mahomes. They can't beat Andy Reid. They cannot beat Kansas City in the playoffs. Is this 4 losses now for the Bills against this Chiefs team in the last 5 or 6 seasons? You got to feel for Buffalo, man, because, again, if they played anybody else, probably in the entire NFL, NFC or AFC, if they played anybody else, they win that game yesterday. The only team that beats them is Kansas City at Arrowhead. And sure enough, they were playing Kansas City at Arrowhead. Did you see Josh Allen's press conference after the game, Denmark?
I saw he took a big old like sigh of relief.
Oh.
Not a sigh of relief, but like, geez, we're doing this again.
It was dejection, man. It was Eeyore from the 100 Acre Woods. It was depression. I mean, if you're Josh Allen, what can you say? He played his tail off. He made a ridiculous play. Spagnuolo blitzes everybody on that fourth down. Allen has no chance. He just throws it up as far as he can. And Dalton Kincaid, my gracious sakes. Holy moly. That's two tight ends, two good tight ends in back-to-back weeks in the AFC playoffs. You could argue legit cost their team the season. Mark Andrews with Baltimore, ironically enough, in that loss to Buffalo. And then yesterday, Dalton Kincaid. You got to catch that ball. Allen got it to you. You got to catch the ball. You're not going to beat Mahomes in Kansas City if you don't make plays like that. As far as Kansas City goes, look, the NFL has a salary cap for a reason. You know why the NFL has a salary cap? So that it doesn't turn into Major League Baseball. It doesn't turn into the NBA from the 90s or the 80s or the early to mid-2000s. The NFL has a salary cap for parity. This is not supposed to happen. Going to their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years, going to 7 consecutive AFC championship games. Keep in mind, the only reason the Chiefs are not going to their 6th consecutive Super Bowl, wasn't that because they lined up offsides in overtime against the Patriots?
Yes.
Yeah. D Ford lined up offsides in overtime, or else they win that game. It's incredible.
Yeah, they lost that one and then to Joe Burrow.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Those are the only two.
I don't think Mahomes yet is in the Tom Brady conversation, but I'll tell you this, he's in the Joe Montana conversation. In fact, he might be better, more accomplished than Montana. If he gets another Super Bowl, he'll tie Montana with 4. Those are the 3, right? When you think about the best quarterbacks in the history of football, Tom Brady's 1, and I think you could legit argue Pat Mahomes is 2, and now Joe Montana's 3.
I think Mahomes is closer to Brady. If I had to guess with those two, I mean, the dude's only played 7 years, has made the AFC Championship game every year.
Yeah.
It's like, that is just...
I'm just so much of a numbers guy. Look, in 5 or 6 years, you're probably right. Brady won 7 rings, man.
I mean, imagine, let's just say, like, Andy Reid retires and Patrick Mahomes, you know, they win a couple divisions, but they don't go back to an AFC Championship game. Like, he still has one of the best careers we've ever seen.
He could retire. That's why I'm saying I would put him over every. Like, Aikman's got 3. I have Mahomes over Aikman. Montana's got 4. I would probably put Mahomes over Montana, even though Montana right now has 1 more.
Well, and another thing, too, like, we're talking about a lot of these games, like, a lot of their Super Bowls, a lot of the games with the Bills, like, they were trailing in a lot of these games in the fourth quarter. It's not like they're blowing these teams out like they're up 10-17 in the fourth quarter in all these games. Like, no, they're all close or they're trailing, and they always find a way to win these games.
No, I agree.
And mostly because of him.
I agree. For me, when I see 7 Super Bowls to 3, Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes, big age difference. That's why I'm saying 7-8 years from now, it could be a completely different conversation. Maybe it'll be a different conversation if they win in 13 days. But even at that point, it would be 7-4 in Super Bowl championships. And for me, it's just hard to say anybody's better than Tom Brady, at least right now. But I would be willing to say if Mahomes wins, or maybe even already Mahomes is better than Joe Montana. Andy Reid, I think there is a legit argument now that he's the best coach in the history of football. I think there is a legit conversation that he's every bit as good as Belichick. Andy Reid is, keep in mind, with Philadelphia, he went to 4 consecutive NFC championship games. He then gets fired for whatever reason. I still don't really know why.
The relationship ran its course.
I mean, I guess. I bet they probably regret that, but nevertheless. Well, Philadelphia was bad between when did Andy Reid go to Kansas City? 2013?
2013, yeah.
Between the time of 2013 and when Sirianni arrived, I mean, some of those Chip Kelly years, yeah, they would go 9-7, 10-6. But Andy Reid, again, had them in 4 straight NFC championship games. They didn't sniff anything like that until recently. So they had about an 8 or 9 year period where Andy Reid was doing his thing in Kansas City and Philadelphia was not doing their thing. But nevertheless, you go to 4 straight NFC title games in Philly. You go to KC and do what you're doing there. I mean, Don Shula and Bill Belichick are considered to be the 2 best. Andy Reid's right there, man.
The one thing about Andy Reid that he has that other coaches like Belichick don't, I mean, he took Donovan McNabb to a Super Bowl, and that was 20 years ago. Think about how different the NFL was 20 years ago and how the style of the game was.
Well, that's the thing. Belichick,
every generation or every era, he's won.
Yeah, Belichick's the defensive guy, so it's hard to compare the two. Offensive minds, Andy Reid probably is the best offensive mind there's ever been in the NFL.
I mean, ask yourself this. If the CTE stuff came out 10 years earlier, I heard Colin Cowherd say this, Andy Reid probably has a Super Bowl or 2 more, and Bill Belichick doesn't.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Again, Belichick's phenomenal, but I think Brady I would clearly still have over Mahomes. I would not have Belichick clearly over Andy Reid. I think because of the offensive mind of Andy Reid, it's just far different than Belichick being a defensive guy. And again, Andy Reid, probably the most innovative coach in the history of the National Football League. And hopefully I'll get there. But again, the idea of Philadelphia and Kansas City doesn't do it for me yet. I'll try to build my way up to it over the next 13 days. We have time to let it simmer. But Patrick Mahomes going for yet another Super Bowl championship. We'll come back, talk a little Gator basketball, a little more on the NFL coaching front. Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com as well, talking NFL, coaching carousel, Jaguars, and more. He joins us in about 15 minutes. It is a Monday evening on Hacker After Dark. We're glad you're with us right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and Jags football.
To the 5, into the end zone, touchdown!
Jaguar football lives here. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it, and now we're set for the final stretch on the road to New Orleans. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back, and if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step up, use our promo code 1010XL, and that'll double your bankroll with a 50% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The big game prop bets are going to be plentiful, so take a hard look at player props and the wacky big game props you see each year from MyBookie. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays, so why wait? There's a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. Sign up now and get your 50% bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. The road to New Orleans is here for the big game. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
Instead of wasting money on resolutions you won't keep, why not invest in something that lasts? Like fixing that dripping faucet, clearing that clogged drain, or finally tuning up your AC. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. We'll help you keep your home in shape this year. It's the one resolution you won't regret breaking. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule service today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound & Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a soundbar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound & Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
A meal and sparkling conversation.
Helmets and heels.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Just behave, okay?
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjax.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right, buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. More on Liam Coen to Jacksonville. The introductory press conference coming up here in just a moment. Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com, covering the NFL. He's based in Chicago. We'll talk a little Ben Johnson and the Bears, but primarily Liam Coen and the Jaguars with Josh Buckhalter. That comes up in about 10 minutes or so. Before we get back into the NFL, quickly to college hoops. Boy, nice win for Florida. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to speak out of turn here. I'm just going to give you my quick thoughts on this because, I don't know the legalities of all this. But did you see that Todd Golden was cleared in the Title IX investigation, that they found no wrongdoing? And Golden released a statement through his lawyer thanking the fans for their support and everything. I mean, again, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but if they found no wrongdoing and that story was printed about Golden and those allegations were made, I mean, Denmark, you're smarter than I am. Or
Don't put that on me.
Are there lawsuits in the future coming up here?
I have no idea. I mean, when that story came out, my first thought was, like, let this play out. Let it run its investigation. because there was a lot of things that were in that article that was like, okay, if a lot of this is true, like there would be some type of picture or video, I would think, that would go with the story. And maybe they didn't want that in the article. But with the way the internet is and the way with AI and how people can hack stuff and people can do so many things to make it look like you're one person, because it was all on like direct message on Instagram and I forget, it might have been Snapchat, maybe a couple other social media sites.
I mean, if that's not defamation of character, I don't know what is.
And I mean, you just got to let it run its course and let the investigation play out. And if there's something bad, then he's fired. And if not, then he continues, and you know what happened.
They've had a great year despite all of that. But again, Golden was essentially cleared, I guess, right? Which is terrific for him, obviously.
Yeah, now then he needs to get an extension.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, right now.
He's got Florida 18-2 for the third consecutive week. They're in the top 5 in America. They beat the crap out of Mike White in Georgia. They've beat Georgia 12 times in a row now, and Golden is now 6-0 against Mike White. And for the keep Mike White crowd, he's good and we're overreacting. We want to get rid of Mike White. No, I don't think Mike White had him 18-2 and number 5 in the country. In fact, I know he didn't. So Todd Golden has been terrific. Florida has the work week off. They got, I guess, what you call a bye week in college basketball. Their next game is at noon on Saturday at Thompson Bowling Arena against Tennessee. A Tennessee team they beat by 30 in Gainesville a few weeks back. Now, if the Volunteers play Kentucky tomorrow, but I would have to imagine Tennessee will be ready for the Gators coming up to Knoxville on Saturday. I think Florida gets a little lucky with the schedule. It's a noon tip. Interesting. 2 top 10 teams, a noon tip on Saturday for Florida and Tennessee. We'll have Sean Kelly, the play-by-play voice of the Florida Gators, on at some point this week, maybe tomorrow, but certainly on at some point this week to talk Gator basketball and to preview the big one in Knoxville coming up on Saturday. But as you can imagine, a large majority of the week will be about Liam Coen. He was introduced today as the Jacksonville Jaguars' 8th head coach in franchise history. What did you make of the introductory press conference? We'll be talking about it all week long, including next with Josh Buckhalter. Heavy.com. He's one of the main NFL writers, reporters for Heavy.com, based in Chicago. So I want to get a thought from Josh on the Ben Johnson news up there, how that's going, but certainly talk about Liam Coen to Jacksonville and the rest of the NFL coaching carousel. It is a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida with Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
You have a problem with authority.
The Drill.
You believe that you are special.
Mornings.
But somehow the rules do not apply to you.
On 1010XL.
Obviously, you are mistaken.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. The best weight loss program I've ever been on. And the results speak for themselves. Down over 100 pounds. You know, I went to an event Saturday night, took a picture with my son. And even I, you know, looking at myself, I can't believe it. I look at pictures of me a year ago and look at pictures of me now. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And it's all thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. Down over 100 pounds. If it's time for you to lose weight, like it was for me, whether it's 100 pounds like I had to, whether it's 20 pounds, any point in between, go to awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com. Guys, take it from somebody that lost triple digits on this program. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 weight loss.
Make a resolution this new year to send all of your friends or family a Coen Flowers floral arrangement. ET here with 1010XL. Okay, how about sending just one person you love a floral arrangement? Coen Flowers can handle it.
Hey, Icken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
The Electric Light Orchestra Experience featuring Evil Woman, the American ELO. A concert celebration featuring the music of the Electric Light Orchestra is February 5th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
Hey folks, Mike Detsy here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Riley Chapman, senior soccer player at Fletcher High. Riley is a member of the National Honor Society and is a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He's been accepted at Palm Beach Atlantic University. Congratulations, Riley.
Happy New Year, sports fans. Hicken here, and let's keep the skincare talk going while we ring in the new year. You know it's winter, a little cold outside. That sun is still shining, so let's always be reminded to take care of our skin. Beaches Dermatology now has a new location open in Fernandina. So if you live just a little north of Duval, you can now see the pros at Beaches Dermatology without having to make the drive to Jax. Go online to beachesdermatology.com to book your skincare appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Mia here. It's the Everything's on Sale sale going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Get $0 down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2022 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $0 down and only $388 per month. Or how about no payments till July 2025? And you get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. Shop the Everything's on Sale at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard at arlingtontoyota.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. Terminix stops termites in my home fast. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly wasn't going to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. Terminix.com.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard. They're getting MVPs, most valuable pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia Jacksonville, Beach Boulevard, and St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer. Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Happy Liam Coen Day to all those who observe. Liam Coen was announced earlier today at a press conference as the brand new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously his first day on the job. here in Jacksonville. The NFL coaching carousel has almost come to an end. Every job is filled with the exception of the New Orleans Saints. Let's talk about the coaching carousel. Let's talk about Liam Coen, a little bit on Ben Johnson up in Chicago, and let's talk a little Orlando Magic as well. Josh Buckhalter covers both the NFL and the NBA for Heavy.com, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Josh, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Josh, we always appreciate it. All right, Liam Coen to Jacksonville. Obviously, it was an interesting way how we arrived here. Just go ask the people down in Tampa. But your thoughts overall on Coen to the Jaguars?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can remember a more feverish coverage about a head coaching candidate. Not to say that Coen wasn't deserving, but just one that wasn't maybe one of the top-tier names that you had been hearing about prior to the cycle actually beginning. So I think it's a big get for the Jaguars. We see the lengths that they went to go to get him, to secure him from Tampa Bay, and all the I guess you could call it subterfuge and things that went along to try to keep their meetings under wraps. So they really wanted their guy. And, you know, I think one thing that I've learned in covering this business is that if teams are sticking by their convictions and they're doing whatever it takes to get their guy, it's hard to fault them for that in the moment. I know hindsight is always 20/20, but Cohen's a guy who's had a reputation. They did what it took to get him, and I don't think you can fault that in any stretch right now.
Well, the story itself is crazy, right? Because Coen, Wednesday, I guess, took his name out of the running Wednesday morning, and that must have been the final straw for Shad Khan, because like 4 hours later they fire General Manager Trent Baalke, get Coen back on the phone, and then Thursday night, he's the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. In your time covering the league, can you remember a scenario like that where a GM gets fired basically because the head coach just simply doesn't want to work with him?
Not where there wasn't already some kind of friction, and I know there was some of that with Baalke too, but he seemed pretty secure going into that search. So that I think is the big twist there, is that they did not seem to want to part ways with him, and it only came about after Coen specifically pulled his name out of the running for the job. And again, that just goes to show you the lengths that Jacksonville was willing to go to get their guy, a guy who they are believing in, who comes with a pretty strong track record. So. Yeah, I don't know that I've seen anything quite to that level yet.
Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Liam Coen, what he did in Tampa last year, Josh. Obviously, Baker Mayfield, 41 touchdown passes, something like 4,500 yards. Baker Mayfield, a former #1 overall pick, was kind of let out to pasture by a lot of NFL pundits. He has completely turned his career around in Tampa. Interestingly enough, now Liam Coen inherits Trevor Lawrence, a guy who many NFL pundits have, again, kind of let out to pasture as a former #1 overall selection. What's your thought on that partnership between Coen and Lawrence?
Yeah, first you got to feel for Baker Mayfield, right? Like 8 OCs in 8 years. Coen told him he was going to be staying, and now he's gone. For Lawrence, you got to hope that he can repeat some of that success. And really, the success for Baker wasn't getting him from being the guy who people thought was a bust to being a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. He done that last year with Dave Canales. The trick for Coen was keeping him there, and I think that's the more impressive thing, because he came in with a guy who had already worked with someone else, who had already been so many other stops and had shown more of the bad than good, and got him to play at that an even higher level. So I think that's got to be the most encouraging part for Lawrence, a guy who came out with all the promise, right, was the predetermined #1 pick years before the draft, and then it's hit some rocky times and is now having people question what his ceiling really is, despite the fact that they know all the context of the things that have gone around him. So I think if you're Trevor Lawrence, this has to be probably the best outcome given the situation and how things unfolded. But even with that, that's not a knock, because, again, I do believe that Coen has some coaching chops.
Coen was fantastic in Tampa, Josh, no question about that. But it was only 1 year as a play caller. He was a coordinator in L.A. with Sean McVay in 2022, but, of course, did not call the plays. I mean, the fact that the Jaguars are basically giving the keys to the franchise to a guy that's only called plays in the NFL for 1 season, any trepidation for you, or is that not a big deal in your opinion?
Always. I think, especially when it's a first-time head coach, right? So I think that his coordinator hires are going to be very important. We hear a lot of that from other first-time head coaches. So how he delegates responsibilities is going to be key for him and the team's success, because I'm not sure how many coaches actually realize how much of a CEO aspect there is to the head coaching job. And then you try to drill down the specifics of game planning, play calling in situations. There's a lot that goes into both of those roles independently. And so to try to combine them can be a lot, especially when there's so much on the plate of a head coach like Liam Coen down there with the Jaguars.
Well, the interesting thing, too, is that it appears that Liam Coen is going to be very involved in the GM search. And you don't want to talk about a first-year head coach being that involved. People are kind of referencing Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. But is that odd to you that Cohen's going to have such a role in choosing the GM here in Jacksonville?
No, the NFL is a copycat league, and I think we heard a lot about synergy between head coach and front office this offseason. I know there was a lot about that with the Bears opening, so that's not surprising to me at all to see that they give the head coach. Now, you could add the rookie qualifier there, and that would add some kind of newness to it, but I still don't think that it's surprising to see them want to give him some kind of input. Does that mean he'll have final say? Who knows? You know, we know teams say one thing and do others behind closed doors, but I'm not surprised at all because, again, these are the lengths that you have to go to when you want to get your guy, especially late in the process when you've already, quote-unquote, lost him one time.
Couple of more for Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Josh, you're based up in the Chicago area. They land Ben Johnson. Obviously, on the surface, that appears to be a very, very good hire. What's been the reaction in the Windy City to that?
Positivity. I think for the second year in a row and counter to Bears history, they've done the popular thing, right? They've done the obvious thing and taken Caleb Williams last year, number 1 overall, thanks to the Panthers, and then hiring Ben Johnson, who reportedly wanted the job last year, but it was not open, and also said that he was not ready. So I think that when you combine that part, his self-awareness and the excitement, anticipation of his arrival in Chicago, I think it's probably, winning the offseason means only so much, but I think that is probably one of the best moves of the offseason so far.
We talk about the coaching carousel. It's starting to wind down. New Orleans is the only job that's still open. I mean, I would have to think most fan bases of these teams have to be reasonably happy. Maybe we'll exclude Dallas. We'll get to them in a moment. But, whether it's Mike Vrabel in New England, Pete Carroll, obviously, in Las Vegas. We talked about Ben Johnson. We talked about Liam Coen, Aaron Glenn with the New York Jets. I mean, I would think most of these fan bases, Josh, are pretty fired up here.
Yeah, I don't know that we see the game of musical chairs that is the coaching hiring cycle end up like this very often. You did note the Cowboys, but Jerry's happy. So I think that there's a lot of good vibes. But again, winning the offseason only gets you so far. The real work is done between September and January. So you got to make sure that you do the work after that, putting the right pieces around those coaches, putting the right players on the field. And so there's a lot of work still to be done. But this is a lot of convenient allegiances this offseason.
Were you surprised at Brian Schottenheimer to Dallas?
Extremely. I was surprised Mike McCarthy was let go, to be honest, because of the relationship that he was said to have with Jerry Jones. And I think this kind of comes off as a move for the sake of making a move, especially with the lack of steps taken to, secure interviews with other top-tier coaches. Can it work out? Of course. Jerry's going to always stand by his convictions, too. And I just said earlier, I'd never fault a team for that. So there's that. But I was definitely taken aback by the lack of involvement in the hiring cycle overall, the dismissal of Mike McCarthy, and then, of course, with Schottenheimer being named the head coach.
Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com. Josh, final NFL thought. It's fresh. We still have 13 days until the game, but we know it's going to be Philadelphia. It's going to be Kansas City, Super Bowl 59. How do the Chiefs keep doing this, man? I mean, every year it's like Groundhog Day. Bill Murray might as well been in Arrowhead last night with that song playing on the alarm clock, because every single year it's ridiculous with the parity in the NFL. And I know people are kind of tired of it, and I do wonder, about that. I still think people are going to watch the Super Bowl, but it seems like a little more backlash on social media. It's the same old, nobody can beat the Chiefs. But it is wild with the amount of parity in this league, Josh, that no one can beat them.
Yeah, I've actually been having this conversation a lot, especially because of people getting the fatigued from their success. They have the triumvirate, right? You have Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. That's one thing. They've gotten the defensive coordinator right in Spagnuolo. But to me, the underlying secret to their success is their lack of mistakes, the critical errors that teams often make that lose games more often than teams can actually win them. The Chiefs don't do those, especially in the high leverage situations. And so we saw how they lost a narrow game to Buffalo in the regular season. Still a narrow game in the postseason, but the Chiefs know how to win close games. Those are not luck things. That's a skill for them. And so coming into the game, that was my mantra, that if it's close, the Chiefs are going to win. And you saw how it played out. Josh Allen had a chance to take the team down the field. We could talk about, the play calling and designing down the stretch there for the Bills, but that final play, that final heave, he had wide open pastures and options to his left side, goes right, ball falls incomplete, game over. Like there's a method to their madness. It's not happenstance that they're winning these. This is what they do. And it's because they minimize their own errors. That's all you can control is what you do. And what they do is not beat themselves.
Final moments, Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com. Josh, I want to end with the Orlando Magic final NFL thought. Again, 13 days away. Obviously, there'll be a ton of time to talk, but this will be our last talk with you until the game. Who's your early thought, Philadelphia or Kansas City a week from Sunday?
Chiefs. The Chiefs at this point feel inevitable. I just said they minimize the mistakes that other teams tend to make. Saquon Barkley is certainly an X factor, but I just feel like the Chiefs have shown that they can prepare with enough time for anyone. We know how Andy Reid is off the bye week. Spagnuolo has been a defensive wizard, and then you still have 15 under center. So I can't go against the Chiefs. You got to beat the champ to be the champ.
Not only do you do a great job covering the NFL, you also cover the NBA for Heavy.com. It was an emotional moment for me, Josh, on Saturday night, finally seeing for the first time since October 30th, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs on the court together. Now, Suggs left the game injured. He was questionable for tonight's game. We'll see what happens with him moving forward. But, Orlando has been just annihilated with injuries, and they had done a really good job keeping their head above water. I think, though, in the last, 2 weeks, when they've been without 5, 6, even 7 guys, they lost 5 in a row. You could really tell the injuries had probably submerged them finally. But now they're healthy. They got a big win over Detroit. Just your thoughts on the Magic moving forward now that most of their guys are coming back.
Yeah, I've been telling you for a couple of years now, I think that the Magic are a threat to any team. And the loss can ultimately help them depending on how matchups work out in the postseason. But what we saw with that lull was kind of what you see with young teams, right? They rely so heavily on their top guys that when those guys go down, the young guys kind of lose their way. It's not necessarily that they've gotten worse or that they need more help. It's literally just that they don't have the star power to keep afloat with the more experienced teams. Now that they're healthy, though, nobody wants to see the Magic. We know how versatile Paolo is. We know how much of a threat Franz is. If they can find a way to stay healthy and just find that rhythm quick enough, they can surge up the standings in no time. It's still tight in the Eastern Conference. And I'm a firm believer in what the Magic can do when they are healthy.
Trade deadlines approaching in the NBA. Any big names we should be on the lookout for in the next week or two?
There's a lot of chatter with the Brad Beal, Jimmy Butler scenario, also including Zach LaVine from the Bulls and Brandon Ingram from the Pelicans. Now, if all 4 of those guys get moved, I would be highly surprised. And to be honest with you, the magnitude of those kind of deals typically something that happens in the off season. So, but those are the names to watch. Those are the big names to watch. Other than that, there's going to probably be some fringe deals, some cap manipulation, draft picks changing hands, that type of stuff.
Josh, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Heavy.com, the coverage you guys provide in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, Heavy keeps you covered on all the top sports headlines, entertainment headlines, news, and everything like that. And you can always find it at Heavy.com, Heavy Sports, Heavy Entertainment. So just whatever you're looking for, Heavy.com.
Josh Buckhalter, NFL and NBA writer for Heavy.com. Josh, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time as always, pal. We'll do it again soon.
Always a pleasure, man. Anytime.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And thank you to Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark, as it has been a very busy Monday here in the city of Jacksonville. Liam Coen on the job, had his introductory press conference today. We will see what happens as far as putting the staff together, a general manager in place. It was cool. I don't know if you guys saw this earlier today on the Jacksonville Jaguars social media platforms, even before the press conference. Just Coen taking in the Miller Electric Center, walking into his office for the first time, walking into the building for the first time, doing a big Duval with all the workers down there at the Miller Electric Center. Man, that was cool. That was awesome. I love to see stuff like that. And Liam Coen, the brand new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. But look, I mean, obviously now the work gets started. There'll be a grace period. Everybody's fired up that he's here. And we talked about this last week. Everybody's fired up that he's here, and now it's time to get to work, right? Go make some good hires for the coaching staff. Go bring in a good general manager. I mean, the Senior Bowl is this weekend. Get out there and scout some guys, right? Free agency is 6 weeks away. The Combine is, a month, a little over a month away. So this is not going to be a very long grace period. Let's say that. There are a lot of things happening. I mean, keep in mind, it's been over 3 weeks since the Jaguars season ended. I mean, it's time to start building this football team, making a plan for 2025, and certainly the first big domino, has now fallen into place as Liam Coen, the brand new head coach of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, that will just about do it. It has been a very busy Monday evening here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Josh Buckhalter, Heavy.com, not only covering the National Football League, but a little NBA talk with Josh as well. And I do think it's interesting. We talked about this with Josh. You know, you look at the coaching carousel around the National Football League, every team except New Orleans, right, is filled. And I would say every fan base probably outside of Dallas right now is pretty happy. I mean, Aaron Glenn in New York, Pete Carroll in Las Vegas, Mike Vrabel in New England, Ben Johnson in Chicago, and, of course, Liam Coen here in Jacksonville. I don't think you're going to find fans of those franchises that are too upset. Dallas, I mean, they bring back one of their guys, right, and Brian Schottenheimer, an interesting hire. And look, Schottenheimer's a former Gator. All right, I'm certainly rooting for Brian. I'm happy for him, but that was a bizarre hire to me. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Jerry Jones appeared happy about it today at their press conference. Today was like the day of press conferences, right? Aaron Glenn in New York, Pete Carroll in Las Vegas, Brian Schottenheimer in Dallas, and Liam Coen here in Jacksonville. And again, we'll just have to wait to see what New Orleans does with their head coach opening, and that will round out the NFL coaching carousel cycle for this time around. Scott knows all about that is Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's always Monday night coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark, and I really appreciated the head coach joining us tonight to give us not only his perspective on Liam Coen, his perspective on the process that got Liam Coen here, but we did talk a little bit about Championship Sunday, and we'll certainly do more of that as the week goes on. We're 13 days away from the Super Bowl. Kansas City just keeps winning, man. No one can beat them. 5 out of 6 Super Bowls, 7 straight AFC Championship game appearances. They will play the Philadelphia Eagles in 13 days. And we talked about that certainly with our head coach, Dave Campo. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship.